Good morning, everyone. Jerry here. Welcome to my art studio. Today it's nice and cloudy out, so it's a beautiful day for videoing. I just wanted to pop on and say hello, as I usually do before I make a video or after. And you know what? I see my thing is still on. Let's turn that off. But that reminds me, I wanted to tell you a little story. So a lot of you that have been following me for a very long time know that I have a problem with my eyes. And I'll make this really quick. I went to the eye doctor yesterday and I got good news. I was really happy about it. I have dry eye really, really bad. She put me on a particular protocol about a year and a half ago, and my dry eye is improving. So I'm tickled to death about it, and I would be happy to share it with you. If you have dry eye, let me know, and I could put it maybe on the community page or something. I won't get into it here. But I did want to tell you that I'm very happy about it. I thought it would be worth mentioning because we are aging creatively and gratefully, and I know it has affected my ability to make YouTube videos and to be a creative. So I thought I would just tell you about it. I'm so happy. All right, that's it. Let's move on. This week's video is going to be the beginning of a series that I'm doing on using book text. So we all have a lot of book text, and if you don't have a lot of book text and you want to play along with some of the things that I'm doing, we do sell book text by the pound and by the 3 pounds, I believe, in our Etsy shop, Recycled Parts for Art. And we generally take, we do take it out of like 10 to 12 books. So you have a lot of variety. Anyway, just put a message if you want book text from us for this project. Put a message in with your order. Tell Brian to make sure that he picks the book text that works the best for this project. And you'll understand that in a few minutes when you watch the video. All right, shameless plug for my business, but that's what I do for a living, and that's how I pay my bills. So there you have it. All right, guys, let's get started. I hope you enjoy this. It's a little book, and I'm calling it a little gratitude, thankful journal. That's what I have made in the past with these little books. So let's get started. These books are really fun to make, and you can make them as many pages as you want. It could be just a simple 2 or 3 pages, or it can be a really long thing like this. So the first thing you're going to do is get your book pages. And I always rip mine out of the books, and so we'll have to cut this edge off. But before we do that, let's talk about the actual pages themselves. So you want to get a book, and I like using an old book because I don't always cover everything on the paper, and I like the old paper to show through. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that the paper has a good consistency, and that when you fold it in half and put a crease in it, it doesn't crack. It folds in half nice. So some of the older paper might crack. So look for that. And once you've decided that you have the pages and these are the pages you're going to use, get a ruler and cut this off, this edge off. And then if you have a specific size in mind, then take that into consideration. But otherwise, I generally just find the pages, cut the edge off, and whatever the size of the book is great. So I have some pages right here. That's from this book. And they are about 5 inches. So that's a nice size. After you've cut them down, this is what they might look like. Then you're going to just sit for a minute, and I like to use my bone folder. And you're just going to fold them all in half and get a nice stack. So it just depends on how many pages you want your book to be. So make your book an uneven amount of pages. It just kind of works out nicer that way. So this is the front, you're flipping it open, you're looking at it like a regular book, right? You get to the last page, And now you just keep doing that. You just keep going. Now this is the other side, you see? This is the one that gave it away for me. It's the other side. These Concertina books are, I think I said that right. Did I say that right? Concertina? These books, these foldable, expandable books, you use both sides. Let's call it a do-si-do. I think it's a do-si-do. I have to look that up. So take into consideration also the graphics in some of the books that you might be using the pages. You might want to leave the graphics. And so, yeah, okay. So now that we've got our pages folded and cut and trimmed, let me just show you quickly so you can like understand, because it gets a little confusing when you're putting them together. Once you understand how they get put together, then you can just keep going. And keep going. So I like to think of them as hills and valleys. And let me turn it sideways so you can see. You can see what I'm talking about. So I think this will make more sense to you when you're gluing them together, because it can appear to be a little confusing sometimes. So this would be the first page over here, and that page goes like that. You see it's under, and then this one, so let's just separate it so you can see them. Okay, so you can just see how these are lined up like that, and then there's a page that goes over that. Okay, and you just keep going. Now the very first page is just a single piece of paper, and that's too thin. So I always take a folded piece and I go like that, and I glue that on both sides. So that gives that some stability. I hope this is making sense. I think this is the best way to explain this. So now you're going to glue these two pages, etc. so on. I'm going to glue some of these pages together, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the next step. Here's the pages, and I told you how to do that, right? So I use a glue stick, and I would say just make sure, let's just do this one. Just make sure, and I always use some kind of an old magazine surface to do my gluing. And if you open up the magazine, then you can just keep turning the pages. Okay, I just want to make sure you can see me. All right, now I just lost my train of thought. All right, here we are. So I am going to put glue. Definitely make sure you get the edges. I'm just going to do one or two for you. And do the inside too. So you have to give the whole thing some glue. And you kind of, with a glue stick, you have to work a little quickly because they do dry fast. And if you want to use wet glue, you can certainly do that. And then, you know, you just put the page. I like to fold it up like that so that I can see where I'm putting it. Okay. And if you have a brayer, just run your brayer over that. That'll keep it nice and flat, or even a credit card or something, or just your hands, just like what I just did. And so now the next one. Okay, you see? So now this next one goes under here. So over, under. over. You got that, right? Okay. So just take a second before you glue. So I'll put the glue on this one and then I'll lay this one on top of it. I used to do this when I was watching television. I've made a lot of these books. I did a little class at a like a holistic center years ago, and we made these into gratitude journals. It was really fun. So I'm just going to move over to this page because this page is clean. If you pick this up, then you can get right into the corner. Try to do it straight. It's not the end of the world. If it's a little crooked, it's just paper. You could trim it off. And then do give it some time to dry. So now we're ready to do the next one. And remember, the first one, the first page, gets an extra paper. So you have to glue both sides. And by the way, it is a concertina book. It is not a do-si-do. A do-si-do appears to be a bound book, whereas a concertina, gee, can I even say that? A concertina is an accordion book, which that's what this is. So, I told you a million times, I'm not an expert on words and stuff like that. I just like to have fun. So I just put a little brown paper on my table, and I have not painted in I can't tell you how long, since I moved into this house. So I'm trying to find my supplies. I like to use a jelly plate to do the rolling with the brayer, and all my paint has gotten really weird too. That's another problem. But I'm just using craft paint, and I'm just going to brayer it on. And I love gold and brown, and and green is another favorite color. So I'm just gonna, wow, this is really squeaky. I better find another brayer. This is wicked. Okay, so I have to giggle because I'm going to need to make a trip to one of the craft stores and get some paint, because look at this, it's all dried out. So I found this bigger brayer. This will work better. And I'm just going to cover the page. And you know, I mix stuff. I mix stuff together. So I'm going to put a little bit of this. I have some off-white here. I'm going to put a little bit of that on there too. No, I'm not. Check this out. Okay, Jerry needs new paint. I bet you that all my paint's going to be like this. You know, it was in storage. Yeah. Okay, this is pretty wicked too, but let's try it. Holy smokes, Jer. Anyway, life with me is certainly an adventure, isn't it? So, just mixing it around with this gold. Oh, I like that. All right, so, oh, I really like that. Oh yeah, I like that. It looks like something really, you know what it looks like? It looks like rust. Doesn't it look like rusted paper? I love it. Okay, so there you have it. I'll let that dry. And then I'll flip it over and I'll do the other side. Well, my paint is still drying, and I love, love, love the way it looks. It just reminds me of rusted paper and my rusted fabric. So I do have to laugh, to be honest with you, because, and you know me and my sidebar, I am just telling you that I haven't had my paints out in a really long time. And I can tell that I've got to get all new paint, because most I would say 90% of my paint, and I use this craft paint a lot. I do have some good paint, but I like the craft paint for this kind of thing, is all dried up. And B, I need a dedicated space in my room to do this stuff because this is where I do my videos and my stitching, and yeah, this is a mess. I love it. Click me off if you don't like it. Whatever. All right. I got some really awesome comments, sidebar, comments on my I Struggle Do You video, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, all right, we're not totally finished yet, because now comes the fun part where you start to really use the book for something and decorate it. Do you want to use it to experiment with some collage art? There's people on the internet, this one girl in particular, Packer Dye, I believe is her name. She does collage art with magazines, and I love her work. I'll put her link in the description below. But she usually expresses herself in them. Very interesting. Take a look at her channel. So you could do that. You could also use it as a gratitude journal. And if you were going to do that, I would cut out another piece of paper like I did with this one. This one is jelly printing. So you can write on top of this, and you can write on top of this, but it's much nicer to write on top of this. So I used brown paper bag. I cut up a whole bunch of pieces. I'm going to fill my book with brown paper bag. You could use it for drawing and sketching. You could use it to experiment with color. You could use white paper, for example, or off-white paper, and do paint swatches. It could be a swatch book, you know, for your Inktense pencils or whatever, or your color pencils. You could do a lot of things with these cute little books. They're adorable. You could paste your kids' pictures in here. You could make these with children and let them decorate them the way they see fit. So I'll show you this. My granddaughter, excuse me, when she was about 8 years old, we had an overnight, and we did jelly printing. So we made all these jelly papers, and then, I'll show you that in a second, and then I taught her how to bind the book. So this is just regular paper, and then we started to do drawings inside. Now, I love scribble. These are my scribble people, and I have a whole series of them. I'm going to do something with them one of these days. And I showed her and explained to her how to do a scribble person. And basically my scribble people, there's a couple of them in here, they just look funky, and then they, what word am I looking for? They make me feel a certain way when I look at them. And so I just write on there what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling. And that's my dog shaking away. And I love my scribble people. So maybe I'll just do that little concertina thing with scribble people. So I'm starting to lose the light here, but I did want to show you how cute it looked with the paper on it. I just finished gluing it, so it's still a little wet. And I used a glue stick, and I really, like, you get a lot. Start in the middle of the paper, get a lot there, get a lot, and then just start to go around the outside edges. And of course, do it on a magazine page, but make sure you get a lot around the outside edges, and then just flip it over and lay it down. So I think it came out super cute, and what a nice way to use up some of your book text that you don't know quite what to do with. So there it is. And I accidentally put this one on wrong. I put the glue on the wrong side, but I said I'm going to leave it. It's cute.